Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. As a busy working mom, finding time to eat healthier can be very challenging. Today I'm going to share with you my latest grocery haul and show you how I prepare delicious meals at home. We'll be making enchiladas with Spanish rice, vegetable chili, and breakfast waffles, along with some other ingredient prep work to help us throughout the week. So if you need some inspiration, please stay tuned and I hope that you enjoy.
Hey guys, thanks for joining me today. I am in front of a large grocery haul. Yesterday we made the treacherous trip to Costco, and then I went to Walmart and picked up a few things that I couldn't get from there or didn't need to get from Costco to satisfy our goal of not eating out this week. Everything that we have here will accommodate my meal plan for the week, which I will go over in just a moment. And some of the things that I'm going to do to save a little bit of money this week, because we all know that eggs and chicken are getting a little bit pricey these days. And then I will walk you through the meal plan for the week, because remember, the goal is to not eat out this week. So, and a couple of adjustments that I did from last week, some learnings that we had, and then we'll just dive right in. I have most items to ingredient prep, a little bit to meal prep, mostly breakfast and lunches, but that's just a couple items. And I might meal prep a couple dinners or things to get to it. So I think we're just going to dive right in and get through it. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to do. Okay. So this is everything that I got at the store. Mostly everything over here is Walmart pickup. And then from here on over, mostly everything is Costco pickup, with the exception of a couple items down here. So I do have a couple grass-fed beef packs because I didn't go to the meat market this week. I decided just to get the meat at Walmart just to save a little bit of money. And in my meal plan, I actually had some chicken recipes, but the cost of chicken seems a little bit higher than normal. So I decided to go ahead and scratch that and replace it with ground turkey. And these were a heck of a lot cheaper. So I'm going to see how that turns out. And then I have a tri-tip because that seems to be a weekly rotation for us. And then from Costco, I always get the grass-fed beef patties. I think these are really good, and these are fantastic for like last minute lunches or dinners when you don't really feel like making anything. You can make really good quality hamburgers with this. And from Walmart, I did pick up these that I'm going to split into two for two dinners. And my son, by request, wanted some orange chicken. So half of this is going to be used with this for some homemade fried rice. And then I got a small carton of eggs because, if you can believe it or not, this was just about $10. I don't know. I have no words. This is crazy. I also got some sour cream from Walmart and another thing of Greek yogurt from Costco. I picked up some green beans, and from Costco, if you could see, someone already got into it. Got some chicken stock, some butter. And I did want to explain this real quick. Lately, we've been having to pinch our pennies a little bit tighter. And so trying to find ways that we could still eat better and save money at the grocery store. When I went to Costco, they have the Kirkland kind of knockoff of the Kerrygold butter, and it's really delicious. You get about the same quantity, and it's a little bit cheaper, but they were completely out of the Kirkland brand, and they only had the Kerrygold, and I'm pretty sure they raised the prices on the Kerrygold because it was about $15, and I just can't see myself spending that much on butter for about half of this. It's just one of those things where we had to cut. So, and then I got some cheese because we're going to be making a lot of things with cheese this week. So went ahead and got the block so that I could shred that. I got two things of bread for the kids. I got some more of the 24 pack of the Thomas English muffins because the breakfast were such a hit. The breakfast sandwiches last week were such a hit. My kids loved them. And I am going to show you a copy of what school breakfasts look like. It's insane. There's no protein. It's all sugar. I am more than happy to feed them this if it means that they're not eating a bunch of sugar. We got some sourdough for a couple meals that we're going to have, and some carb balanced tortillas. I'm making enchiladas, and then we're meal prepping some bean and cheese burritos, as well as ingredient prepping for BRC burritos. Potatoes, of course, I'm not going to skip out on these. These are definitely more expensive than your traditional coffee creamer, but I've moved to here and I cannot go back. So this is my coffee creamer. These are about $5 each. And then this is what I use for my Spanish rice, and it's delicious. If you haven't tried it, that's what I use to season it. And then I'm making some enchiladas, as mentioned, per son request. I'm getting some sweet corn. I have some sweet potatoes, some tomatoes, some rice. Again, we're going to make some Spanish rice, some regular white rice with this, and then also fried rice. So we're going to have to make some rice tonight. Some strawberries, and look, don't laugh, but if you have not tried these, they are so good. They're not protein, but I did put some protein vanilla powder mix into it just to kind of bulk up, you know, so that it helps with my kids feeling full, and they love it. These are so good. And so I'm making some protein waffles out of this mix. It's not the best, but that's what I got. I always forget something. We also got some shrimp. As I'm putting everything away, I realized I forgot to go over this little gem right here. So if you've been around for a while, then you know I've bought these at Costco when I first started kind of meal prepping and ingredient prepping and doing this whole journey of, you know, changing the way I eat food. And I've tried to look for them at Costco before, and I can never find them. They're not vented, they're airtight seal. They're about 2 inches tall, probably, I don't know, 10 to 11 inches in width. It holds some good stuff, but it is limited because of its size. So when I saw this, I just had to get it. So it came with 2 of these sizes and 1 of this size, and it's very large. You can hold full-size celery stalks in these. So these are great. They're BPA free. You can put them on the top rack of the dishwasher. Okay, I told you that we'd go over the meal plan for the week. So this is what we're doing. I have my list of dinners, and on this side right here, these are the items that I'll be meal prepping. We'll do waffles and sausage and egg sandwiches because they were so popular. I have some yogurt bowls and some Greek salad. These don't really need prepping other than just, you know, washing and cutting. But for dinners, I'm going to try to do as much as I can ahead of time to make it easier the day of. I can't dedicate hours at a time to just meal prep everything or ingredient prep everything. So a lot of my stuff is separate into different days. I shopped and did everything yesterday. That was Sunday. Today's Monday. So I do have to make my enchiladas for dinner today. And then tomorrow I'm going to be doing hamburger gravy over rice with green beans. Now, if you've never ground hamburger gravy over rice, what it is it's ground hamburger beef with cream of mushroom soup, and then you mix it all together, and then you pour it over a bed of rice. So I'm going to make my own cream of mushroom. Then we're going to do just hamburgers and sweet potatoes because those are always an easy go-to. We're making tri-tip with roasted vegetables, turkey vegetable chili. That's going to be the other half of my ground turkey, and half of the frozen vegetables that you saw with some potatoes, and see how that goes. So orange chicken with fried rice and hamburgers with fries and salad if I have some salad left over.
So as I'm putting the groceries away, I just want to apologize in advance. As I'm recording this, I do have a bit of a head cold. It is going strong with the allergy season, so please bear with me. Tired snowflakes are coming down. Collapse into water. We're diving right into making our first dinner item, which is turkey enchiladas. So I am using ground turkey that just has salt, pepper, garlic, and some cumin and chipotle seasoning. And then I'm going to be wrapping that up in a low-carb flour tortilla with some sharp cheddar cheese. Rolling that up and placing them into my pan that I just poured a little bit of enchilada sauce on the bottom of it, stacked my enchiladas in there, and then I poured the rest of the can on top. And then on top of the enchiladas, I will be putting the rest of my shredded sharp cheddar cheese as well as mozzarella cheese. It's what I had on hand. I typically like the fresco cheese on top of it, but I didn't have it, so they still turned out really good. This is mozzarella cheese that I had bought from Costco a few months back. I had put it in a food saver bag and froze them in 2-cup increments, and that's really helped me out a lot. So that's why I was crumbling it up. It was still a little bit frozen, but mostly thawed, so I knew that it would thaw the rest of the way in the oven. So once I spread everything out, I just put it in the oven at 375 for about 30 minutes, and it comes out perfect. Now for my Spanish rice, I like to use butter, but you can use oil. And then I'm adding in 1.5 cups of rice. And I'm going to mix it all up, and then I'm going to let it brown before I add in my water. Now when I'm making Spanish rice on the stove, what I do is I do 2 parts water to 1 part rice. So once it's all brown, I will add 3 cups of water. And then I also add 1 can, it's a small can of El Fresco or the El Patio salsa. That gives it a really good spice. I will also add salt, pepper, garlic, and some onion, dried onion, and cumin. Cumin's the key ingredient here. And then I let it come to a boil. And then right before I put the lid on it, I'll put 1 sliced jalapeno on it just for some added flavor. You put the lid on it and let it sit. You do not lift the lid. Don't try to stir it. That is a lesson that took me a long time to learn. I'm still trying to perfect my Spanish rice, but it's gotten a lot better over the years. And it really is one of those things where if you get the water to rice ratio right, that's a tongue twister, water to rice ratio right, and you learn to not mess with it. Once you get it boiling and you cover it, you lower the heat to low, and then don't touch it. And I let it go for about 20 minutes or so. It's kind of a feeling, I think. It's one of those learnings that you get as you cook. But then I turn the heat off after 20 minutes. I let it sit for another about 5 to 10, and then I open it up, and it turns out really tasty. And by the time the rice is done, so are my enchiladas. So I just take them out of the oven. I do let them sit for about, again, another 5 to 10 minutes, letting them cool. It also helps you cut it easier so the cheese isn't so stringy. And they were quite delicious. My husband said they were the best I've ever made. For day 2, I'm making a ground turkey vegetable chili. I intended this to be a true chili. It turned out to be more of a stew, but still turned out very delicious nonetheless. First thing I'm going to do is peel and chop my potatoes so that I just get it done and out of the way. And to a large pot, I'm going to ground up my turkey meat. And to my turkey meat, I'm actually going to season it with salt, pepper, garlic, paprika, and dried onion flakes. And that's it.
Love like wildfire, I was your entire world until I stood alone in a storm. You took the sunshine, the flames are gone now, and I watched you walk straight out of that door. Promises got lost in the dust. Your boots by the door, you're not coming home. Love like wildfire, I was your entire world until I wasn't anymore. Oh, heartache, you left me behind. That's not a man, only a coward. Gone now, you're chasing the wind.
Once the turkey meat is browned, that's when I add in my potatoes. And here's where I made the mistake from going from chili to stew. I added too much water right here. So I was thinking, okay, I'm going to boil these potatoes. So I went ahead and added the water to cover up the potatoes, and I should have not covered them fully if I wanted a true chili. I probably should have just cooked them on the side, but I was trying to do a one pot style chili. Still, again, turns out delicious. Just know that you're getting a soup instead of a chili. So again, I just filled it up to the top. Then I'm going to go ahead and chop some tomatoes because I do like tomatoes in my chili. And just as that's cooking, I add it in there because I do like the tomatoes to get fully cooked and very soft, so that almost like they add like a tomato sauce almost. You can also add in canned of crushed tomatoes. I just didn't have that, but I did have some extra tomatoes on hand. That's why I didn't use the canned tomatoes. And then after a few minutes, I'll go ahead and add in my chili mix, which I probably could have gotten 2 actually, but I wasn't anticipating when I was thinking of making this that it would be so big. But I just added 1 of those. I stirred it up, and then I put the lid back on to let it boil so that the potatoes can cook. And how I do my potato test to know when they're done is I'll just get my little ladle and scoop up a potato, and if I can stick a fork through it, then I know it's time to add in the rest of my ingredients. And from here I added in 2 cups worth of frozen vegetables. This is just corn, peas, carrots, and green beans. I let it boil for 10 minutes and then your stew is done. I served this in a bowl with some cheese and sourdough bread on the side, and it was delicious. So now it's time to ingredient prep some of the items that we're going to be eating throughout the week. And I'm starting with my rice. I'm going to be making rice enough for 2 things. 1 is our BRC burritos, and 2, I had it on the meal plan to make like fried rice for one of our meals, and so I also made enough for that because when you make fried rice, the rice comes out best when you have like a day old or a few day old rice that's cold from the refrigerator. So in the Instant Pot, when you make rice, your ratio is 1-to-1, so 1 cup of water to 1 cup of rice, and I made 3 cups of rice, which was way too much if you ask me, but I actually, when I make it in the Instant Pot, I like to use chicken broth or vegetable broth instead of water. I think it just gives the rice some really good flavor. And what I'm scooping out now is the rice that I intended to make with the BRC burritos, or make the BRC burritos with. And then I'm going to scoop out the rest of the rice in a bag and save it for when I make the fried rice later on in the week. I love the Instapot for so many reasons, but one of the main reasons I like it is because it cuts down on your cooking time so much. With the rice, it cooks in 12 minutes and I don't have to watch it, but I can make beans in like 35 to 40 minutes and I don't have to spend time soaking them ahead of time. It's fantastic. I'm not sure what happened. I didn't record me actually putting the beans in the Instapot, but really all I do is put 2 cups of pinto beans, a chopped onion, garlic, salt, pepper, a teaspoon of cumin, a teaspoon of oregano, and 6 cups of water or a vegetable or chicken broth, and pressure cook that for 30 to 40 minutes. So I made a side of pot beans that are about this size, and then I also made this, which I'm going to be turning into refried beans. And to the beans, I'm adding in salt, pepper, garlic, and I believe I'm adding in some cumin and paprika. And then I'm also adding in a little bit of chicken broth just for some added flavor and to give them some hydration. And looking back, I probably could have added a little bit more because as they sat and kind of cooked on the stove, they did get a little dry. So I would add probably about half a cup of vegetable or chicken broth. And then I mashed, and mashed. Keep mashing until your heart's desire, until you get the right consistency. It doesn't look pleasant or delicious, but it does taste really good. I think homemade refried beans taste way better than, store-bought or canned refried beans by far. And it's so easy. Overall, it took me a little bit of time, but actual labor, it only took me maybe 20 minutes to get those done. And since I made these in my video last week, I can tag it up at the top. I didn't show myself making these, but I did want to highlight and show you this portion of it because I made a mistake this week and I wanted to share it with you guys. I did not wrap my sandwiches this week. I was trying to save time and I just put them in the bag thinking that it was going to be okay. It wasn't okay. The eggs definitely got a little bit of freezer burn, so wrap your sandwiches before you freeze them. And the last thing I'm going to be meal prepping is the breakfast waffles for my kids. And say what you will about the waffle mix that I'm using, but it is delicious. I know it's not very healthy, nor is it even close to being clean, but they are so tasty. And so what I'm doing to kind of bulk them up a little bit and add a little bit more nutrients to them is I'm adding some egg, which it says so on the box to do, but I'm also adding in some Jocko protein powder to it, 2 scoops, vanilla flavored. It adds a great flavor to the waffles. Honestly, I don't really taste a difference at all. And then I'll be sprinkling a little bit of chocolate chips into 2 batches of them. And then for the other 2 batches, I'm just going to leave them plain because sometimes my kids like chocolate chips and sometimes they don't. So now that they have options. And then I did want to show you a difference here with the butters. This is something I learned that I didn't know before I really started paying attention to the ingredients and the quality of the food. So I feel funny even talking about it while I'm making Dolly Parton waffles, but I started asking myself, why are the Kerrygold butters and the Costco butters, the clean ones that we would get, those are very yellow and very rich color, versus a lot of the other butters on the market. The other most recent Costco butters that I got in this grocery haul is a very white color. The reason for the difference in color is the beta-carotene, which is a pigment found in grass. So the butter or even eggs that are darker in color and more rich, those are from animals who have eaten a diet rich in grass, and that grass has higher levels of the beta-carotene in it. The butters or eggs that are typically dull or whitish in color, or for eggs that are more of a lighter color yellow, those are from animals that have a diet that's primarily grain-based. And so they say grass-fed cows are better because they produce a leaner meat that has healthier omega fatty 3 acids in them. They also have a lower fat content, higher nutritional profile, so they have a lot more antioxidants in them. And then we also assume that the cow is happier because they were able to roam their land. So this is what the waffle looked like when it was done. It only took a few moments to cook. This is a waffle maker. I got it from Target. It's a Dash waffle maker. I like that it makes 4 squares. It's very easy to cut up and cut into 4s. And so what I did is I just made, 4 batches. So I made 4, technically 12 waffles total, 12 squares. So I did 2 of these batches that have chocolate chips in them, and then I did 2 that do not. And then I cut them into 4s so that I can easily put them away. These held in the freezer really nicely and they defrost super quick. You could either defrost them in the toaster if you have a defroster in your toaster, or super fast in the microwave. I like to pop mine in the toasters because I like the crunch that it gives. I don't like to cook them too long in the waffle maker because I know I'm going to reheat them again, so that it doesn't taste overcooked whenever I reheat them. And again, say what you will about the Dolly Parton mix, but I'm telling you, it was really good. And even as you make it as pancakes, they're delicious. Trust me, they're really good. I know they're not probably very good for you, but they're a really good treat. And like I said, I added the protein powder to it, and it was just an added benefit. You couldn't taste the protein powder. I know sometimes if you buy the protein like mix, it has a funky aftertaste. These did not. They tasted fabulous. Hey everyone, so I'm closing out today's video, and while I do, I was thinking, kind of looking back on how this week's meal planning and prepping went. And so I have a couple learnings that I wanted to share with you, and I was just thinking of it as I was sitting down getting ready for next week. So there's two things. Overall, this week went really well. We stuck to our plan, and we only ate out once, and that was a planned dinner for a birthday. So, we knew it was coming. We planned for it. So I think we did really well. Hindsight, I bought too much food. The reason why is in my head, I have 5 people that live with us. I have me, my husband, my 2 kids, and then my mother-in-law. So we have 5 people with us. 2 of them are kids, and they don't eat much when they do eat with us. And then my mother-in-law doesn't really eat too much throughout the day. She kind of grazes depending on what it is or what's available. And then she'll have dinner with us. So, but I cooked and planned for 5 people to have 5 meals. So I don't know why I do that. I think it's a thing that a lot of us do. I've heard many times that I don't know how to cook for, I don't know how to cook for 2 people. I kind of fall into that. I always have for some reason. But so this week I definitely want to, scale back and scale down the meals that we do and how much I cook. I have some learnings. The plan that I went over earlier in the video actually lasted us about a week and a half. And so I only had to do just like a mini small grocery shopping the middle of last week just to kind of supplement until we get to now, because we still had food left over, which is great. I'm not complaining, just I wasn't expecting that. So that's lesson number 1 that we're going to change going into next week. And then the second one is I didn't realize when I was making the meal plan, but almost everything had rice in it. And we stopped eating a lot of rice a lot last year because of the grains. We kind of scaled back on that and the pastas and replaced a lot of the pastas with spaghetti squash or other things. And then, we still ate some breads, but not often. And then rice and beans, we didn't really eat a lot of. And so when we come into this week, by day 7, I felt terrible. My stomach was bloated. I did not feel great. So I definitely felt, and then my digestion, I definitely felt that in my gut and my digestion. So not to mention that, we had almost every dinner had some sort of rice component in it. We also did for lunch the bean and cheese burritos, which were homemade refried beans and cheese. And then we also had pot beans that I had made with the rice and cheese. And so I got double doses of it. So I'm definitely being heightened aware of that now. I think we're going to spread that out a little bit more. We liked it. It was good. They were great and convenient little grab and go lunches. But to have it every day, it didn't work. I don't know how people do it. If you watch Dave Ramsey, if you're a fan of Dave Ramsey, that's his big thing is, eat rice and beans every day so that you could get yourself out of debt. That would wreak havoc on my stomach. So no, thank you, Dave Ramsey. Those are my learnings. Like I said, overall, I think we did really well. I'm looking forward to keeping this momentum up because it does feel really good to be able to eat at home and cook all of our meals and know what's coming. So, and then also being able to have those grab and goes for lunches. Breakfast, the kids loved the waffles. I think they're getting a little tired of the breakfast sandwiches, which I don't blame them. So we still have some of those. I'm going to let those deplete, and then I won't, I won't make them again for probably another week or 2. But they do want more waffles, and I'll try to figure out something else, some extra protein to get into their breakfast. because if I haven't showed it in the video already, I will show you right here. The school breakfasts are terrible. They're just filled with sugar. There's no protein at all. And so I'm really trying to teach my kids to eat at home, eat healthier. You know, it's not going to be healthy or the healthiest, but it'll be better than the alternative that they get at school. So we'll see how it goes. Either way, I thank you so much for watching this video. It's a little bit long, and bear with me while I'm trying to find a groove for my videos and my schedule, but I appreciate your time and watching. Please like and subscribe if you are in support or on the same journey that we are, which is eating healthier, changing your relationship with food. And then this year, our goal is to save money by not eating out, which has, you know, it's also benefits of eating healthier. So I thank you so much and have a wonderful day.
What are you doing? Huh? What are you doing?
Love like wildfire, I was your entire world until I stood alone in a storm. You took the sunshine, the flames are gone.